Hello, how are you? Today, I'm going to talk to you what you can add to your rice to completely change its metabolic impact on your body. I'll tell you about 0.099 seconds ingredients that with just a spoonful can give you very interesting results for your health. You're going to love this video. Stay until the end. You won't want to miss it. Before we start, 0.1818 seconds tell me, do you eat rice daily? A lot of people eat rice every day. You're like, and what type of rice do you eat? This tip works for any kind of rice, whether it's brown rice, white music par, boiled, 0.2828 seconds, whatever rice you eat on a daily basis. 0.30 seconds, but I want to know which one is the most popular in your house. What's the family's go-to rice? Write it for me down here in the comments. Remember to 0.3838 seconds, leave your like on the video. That's really important to me. It shows YouTube that you support the channel and trust my content. And if you know someone who loves rice but wants tips to improve things like blood sugar, glucose spikes, 0.4949 seconds satiety, and so on, music, share this video. Let's grow our chain of kindness. 0.5353 seconds. When we think about rice, rice is basically starch, right? So it's made up of glucose chains. When we eat rice, 0.5959 seconds, it's quickly digested by the enzymes present, mainly the enzyme amylase. 1:31 minute, 3 seconds, and then it breaks down into glucose and enters the bloodstream relatively quickly. So this leads to a rapid increase in blood sugar, insulin, 1:11 minute, 11 seconds release, and possibly a drop a few hours later. So usually people who eat a large amount of white rice may feel sleepy after lunch, get hungry sooner, and experience energy fluctuations. Music. 1:201 minute, 20 seconds. Sometimes you feel kind of tired. 1:21 minute, 22 seconds and motivated. So ideally, we should try to boost this rice a bit. And these tips I'm going to share with you here will make even white rice or parboiled rice 1.3 in an 11 minute, 31 seconds have as much fiber in some cases as brown rice itself. So there are people who say, oh, I really wanted to eat brown rice because of the fiber, but 1:391 minute, 39 seconds can't because of the taste. So these tips here can really help you with that. 1:431 minute, 43 seconds. I'm going to tell you about 4 different foods here to help you. And I'll definitely start with psyllium, which is the most powerful for glucose. 1:501 minute, 50 seconds. I put it first here, both because of its effectiveness and its acceptability. 1:541 minute, 54 seconds, because psyllium is a pure soluble fiber and it doesn't taste like anything. It's completely white, yellowish, almost transparent. So when you mix it into 2.022 minutes, 2 seconds rice, you can't even tell there's psyllium in it. So if the goal is to reduce the glycemic spike, psyllium is probably the strongest on our list here. 102 minutes, 10 seconds, as I told you, psyllium is highly viscous. When it comes into contact with water, it forms a thick gel, and this gel slows gastric emptying, decreases 2,182 minutes, 18 seconds, the contact of starch with digestive enzymes, and reduces the rate of glucose absorption. So clinical studies have already found that adding psyllium to a 2.262 minutes, 26 seconds meal can significantly reduce blood sugar levels after lunch or dinner. So 2.302 minutes, 30 seconds. This helps not only with blood sugar control, but also with the weight loss process. If you want to control your weight, lowering insulin spikes helps you. And also when you consume psyllium, 2.392 minutes, 39 seconds, it forms this gel that expands. So it greatly increases the feeling of fullness, making it even more interesting. Since it also contains these fibers, it can help excrete 2.482 minutes, 48 seconds cholesterol in the stool. So it's good for cardiovascular health. And as a bonus, it improves intestinal transit. 2.532 minutes, 53 seconds. So it's wonderful. The issue with psyllium is that you need very little of it. Of all the ones I'm going to talk to you about, this is the one you'll use in the smallest amount. Music I'm giving 3,023 minutes, 2 seconds general guidelines here. The amount can always vary from person to person. If you have any questions, consult your nutritionist or your doctor in your city. But usually a teaspoon of 3.103 minutes, 10 seconds psyllium mixed into your rice will already have a big effect on the glycemic response. And a teaspoon is very little, right? So it also goes at 3.183 minutes, 18 seconds long way. Usually when I use psyllium in my rice, I serve the amount of rice I want on my plate. Sprinkle a teaspoon of psyllium on top and give it a quick mix. 3.263 minutes, 26 seconds, it blends in really fast, so it's a great addition. Another thing you can add, another ingredient, is chia, and chia is also extremely interesting. And 3.353 minutes, 35 seconds, just like psyllium, it has no flavor but does have a visual aspect. So if you're someone who sometimes has a harder time with this or might get a bit put off by it, for someone who is more sensitive, 3.453 minutes, 45 seconds chia stands out more than psyllium. But chia has other benefits too, because while psyllium is pure fiber, chia has fiber, and it also contains these 3,533 minutes, 53 seconds, interesting fibers that form this mucilage, which provides early satiety and helps prevent spikes and drops in glucose. It also contains a very 4,004 minutes interesting fat, which is a precursor to omega-3. So in a more complete way, it acts on several fronts because it helps slow down glucose absorption, increases 4 to 84 minutes, 8 seconds, the feeling of fullness, and reduces that hunger afterwards. But since it also contains omega-3, this omega-3 also contributes to the feeling of satiety. For 174 minutes, 17 seconds, it's an anti-inflammatory fat that is very good for our health. So chia can really help from various angles to improve blood sugar issues, improve 4,254 minutes, 25 seconds intestinal transit, facilitate bowel movements, and prevent constipation. All because of these fibers and healthy fats it contains. When we think about the 4,334 minutes, 33 seconds amount of chia to add, usually when you're going to include it in your plate of rice that you've decided to eat, it's important to consider a balanced portion. A good amount can be from 24 minutes, 42 seconds teaspoon to 1 TBSP of chia, depending on your needs. Up to 1 TSP is a very reasonable amount for that meal. And as I mentioned, it really helps with 4 minutes, 50 seconds satiety. So it also expands that feeling that the rice really filled you up. And it's an excellent addition, as I said before, also because it doesn't 4,584 minutes, 58 seconds affect the taste, only the visual aspect. Another food you might consider adding to your rice after it's cooked is apple cider vinegar. In this case, 5,065 minutes, 6 seconds. We're not talking about fiber, but rather about a metabolic effect it can have because vinegar contains acetic acid. And this acetic acid may be 145 minutes, 14 seconds, related to slowing down gastric emptying and reducing the activity of some enzymes that digest starch. It's not a free pass for you to eat as much as you 5, 2, and 15 minutes, 21 seconds want. Just because you're adding vinegar doesn't mean you should overdo the quantity, but it can help in this regard. And it can also help improve 5 to 95 minutes, 29 seconds insulin sensitivity. So when you consume vinegar together with rice, it can help reduce the glycemic spike. And the insulin response is more controlled. 75 minutes, 37 seconds, also helping to prevent those episodes of hunger afterwards, like I mentioned to you before. So this mechanism is chemical, not physical like fiber. But 455 minutes, 45 seconds, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. In fact, it works in a very interesting way, and it gives a really interesting flavor too. If you like Japanese food, 5,525 minutes, 52 seconds, you must be used to that little taste of rice with vinegar, which the Japanese eat a lot. They consume more rice vinegar. In this case, I'm talking about 6,006 minutes apple cider vinegar, but even so, it's super tasty. So you can put a teaspoon or a tablespoon of vinegar on top of your rice once it's on the plate, and it 6,086 minutes, 8 seconds tastes great. If you eat it with salad mixed into the meal like this, it works really well. There are still other things you can add, which are 2 seeds that I put in the same category here. 6,176 minutes, 17 seconds, because you need to do some prep work before adding them to the rice. It's not that you have to, but it helps with the absorption of their nutrients, which are 6,246 minutes, 24 seconds flaxseed and pumpkin seeds. Although flaxseed is very similar to chia in terms of composition and benefits, I put it here together with pumpkin seeds. 6,236 minutes, 33 seconds, because ideally we should grind them before sprinkling them over the rice, or you should chew them very, very thoroughly to break down these seeds well. Flaxseed is very similar to chia. 6,426 minutes, 42 seconds. It also contains soluble fibers, omega-3, and lignans. So it really helps with weight loss and blood sugar control. And 6 to 506 minutes, 50 seconds. Pumpkin seeds are very interesting because they are rich in magnesium, rich in zinc. They have protein, fibers, and help with insulin sensitivity. So 6,586 minutes, 58 seconds, ends up improving the speed of digestion, the insulin response, music. 7,027 minutes, 2 seconds satiety, and even the gut environment itself. So these are very interesting options for you to add. And then in the same way, you can add a tablespoon of 7,107 minutes, 10 seconds them ground, or even if you want, you can mix pumpkin seeds with flax seeds in a jar. Mix them in equal amounts. Then take a spoonful of this mixture, grind 7,177 minutes, 17 seconds it, and sprinkle it over the rice on your plate. It's also a great option for you to add to your daily routine. I have to tell you, I've already touched on this before, but I need to remind you that adding a spoonful of psyllium, 7,287 minutes, 28 seconds chia, vinegar, flaxseed, or pumpkin seeds is not a free pass for you to start eating more rice. That's not the idea of this video. The idea isn't to 7:367 minutes, 36 seconds, say, oh, that's it. Now that I've added something to the rice, I don't need to worry anymore. There's no point in ignoring the quantity, because if you 7.447 minutes, 44 seconds, fill your plate with 4 huge scoops of rice and add a tablespoon of psyllium or chia, it's not going to have that much of an impact. So I said 4 huge scoops. 537 minutes, 53 seconds, exaggerating, but remember that ideally you should control and balance this. The base of our plate ideally should always be vegetables and greens, and we should also add a healthy protein, legumes. 38 minutes, 3 seconds music, and if we include things like beans, peas, chickpeas, and so on, and then a bit of carbohydrate as well in the form of rice. The idea is not for it 118 minutes, 11 seconds to be rice with other things. This is an important point for us to remember. So 158 minutes, 15 seconds. Tell me here, which of these options would you add to your rice? Or if you already add them and are happy to know that it's a great choice, let me know in the comments. I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video. 258 minutes, 25 seconds, that really helps me out. And share it with anyone who would enjoy it or needs it. Let's expand this chain of kindness. 308 minutes, 30 seconds. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.